After taking down a colossal centipede, a new threat has already appeared, but nothing our beloved absence of hair can't handle. Get ready, because the third season of One Frame Man is going wild, or at least it was supposed to. Zombie Man goes in to have a conversation with the Mad Doctor, and the Doctor never thought he was a guinea pig from the House of Evolution. He says Zombie Man was the only success among his immortality experiments, and that it had been 10 years since he destroyed the lab and disappeared, only to return as a hero. But the guy, with no patience for small talk, immediately climbed onto the table with an axe and asked why the House of Evolution disappeared, since he can rebuild it as many times as he wants while he's alive. The Doctor says he witnessed someone who surpassed artificial evolution, someone who removed his limiter. Naturally, no matter how hard someone tries, there are limits to their growth. He states that excessive force is a burden and can cause failures. That's why God created every being with a certain limiter. Meanwhile, a fierce fight was raging between Garou and the Ripper, or perhaps female Ripper. In a moment of distraction, Garou takes a blow from the giant cicada and is thrown far away, causing Garou to be electrocuted by the wires. Even so, Garou went on the attack like Killua, fearing no one. Returning to the Doctor's talk, he says the bald guy was different from the others, surpassing his limits and removing the limiter. Zombie Man asks if there's a price for that, and Gina says he paid the price. The price to pay was becoming a completely bald egghead, in addition to suffering from loneliness, with a power capable of going head-to-head with Goku. Hearing all this, Zombie Man says the Doctor's only failure was his head, and that he has already seen monsters ignore their limits. But the Doctor, in shock about the egghead, says he is far beyond that. He explains that the triggers to become a monster vary: obsession, an inferiority complex, or some frustration, like being impotent or something similar. Others are created with scientific methods, and some even mutate with environmental pollution, among other factors. But it's not the same as removing the aforementioned limiter. Heroes were born with the potential to become strong and honed it with effort or talent. But the egghead was different. Born common, lived common, had no talent, was a destitute guy, but with effort, he surpassed his own limits and removed his limiter. Just thinking about it, the Doctor laughs at the absurdity of his ambitions. He says Zombie Man might know him since he is also a hero. Returning to Garou, he says he can win since they are nothing compared to Silver Fang. The giant bug didn't believe a human could go that far, since it was 2 against 1 and he lasted this long. The Ripper says she was going to play with him but decided against it and will finish him quickly, and the bug says the fight is about to begin now. Garou spits out a tooth, saying he has already learned all their movements. Then out of nowhere, a slimy creature appears with the useless kid Garou saved. The cockroach asks what the slimy creature was doing there, and he says he has a personal beef with Garou. Garou ends up getting distracted and takes a cut from the Ripper from behind and then takes a punch to the stomach, spitting up his breakfast. After that, he started being sliced up by the Ripper, who was stopped by the giant cicada, who says they had orders not to kill him, but the long-haired guy says it's too late now. Garou is already deceased. With a look of pleasure, he calls everyone to leave. Meanwhile, at Saitama's house, Genos was watching King beat a game and said he didn't understand anything and still needed to level up more. The elderly heroes were worried about the bald guy who hadn't shown up yet, and Genos says that as long as he doesn't destroy the Monster Association, he won't return. The fake hero says he is strong, but is worried anyway. That's when the bald guy shows up, and everyone starts questioning him. He arrives all dirty, saying he got into some trouble. Everyone then thought he had found Garou. The bald guy subtly suggests that the place is too crowded for everyone to leave his house. What had happened to him was that he had lost his wallet with 6,000 yen inside, and everyone thinking he had found Garou, which he actually had. And when it seems like the bald guy remembered something important, he says he forgot the cabbage he bought at the restaurant. Genos offers to retrieve it, but the old man reminds him that he is all injured. Then, out of nowhere, the beauty appears, and Genos asks what she wants this time, but she was furious with the bald guy. Still, she had the kindness to bring the cabbage. The bald guy thanks her for the cabbage, but she forces him to apologize for letting her pay the restaurant bill, and without any pressure, he apologizes, sweating cold. She also complains that he left in the middle of the conversation, and he didn't even remember they were talking about something. With all this talk, Genos already thought that Fubuki also wanted to be the bald guy's disciple, and that it would be a problem for the bald guy to have more work. Suddenly, he notices a supposed enemy approaching. He wasn't in a condition to fight. The old men were injured. The blizzard, according to him, wouldn't stand a chance. The bald guy was traumatized because of the wallet, so the only option for him would be the charlatan. So he does everything to push King to fight, but luckily, it apparently wasn't an enemy. The unidentified astronaut says Genos seems to have been damaged and that he shouldn't strain himself, and the person inside the suit was Dr. Kusano. He says he received a distress call and wanted to see Genos personally. He asks what happened to the enemy that injured Genos, and Genos says the bald guy finished him off as usual. The big-nosed guy says he always wanted to meet the bald guy, and before he could finish talking, the bald guy tells him to take off his shoes. The old man starts a long speech to introduce himself, and Saitama quickly cuts him off and asks who he is. Not satisfied, the old man starts talking about his relationship with Genos, and the bald guy already kicks Genos out, saying the old man came to pick him up. Even Genos asks him to summarize it in less than 20 characters. That's when the old man shows the gift he brought for Saitama. Fancy be meat. The old men already start hinting that they want to eat some meat, and the bald guy changes completely, telling him to visit his house more often. That's when the Blizzard sees how easy it is to buy the bald guy. The bald guy wanted to use the meat in a hot pot, and the hot girl butts in, saying it's a waste, and asks if they have red wine, as if it were a restaurant. That's when the bald guy realizes everyone wanted to stay for dinner and tells everyone to clear out. At the Monster Association, the Ripper reports that Garou failed the test and that they killed him in the heat of the moment. Gyoro asks them to tell the truth, and the giant cicada says Garou was just a mediocre guy and could betray the monsters at any moment. The strange creature notices that both are very injured, and the long-haired guy says he was stronger than expected and that he understood why Gyoro sent them both on the mission. Meanwhile, the useless kid was in shock. Who wouldn't be in front of a creature like that, right? The long-haired guy says he brought the snot-nosed kid because he had seen them and plans to torture him slowly to vent his anger. Gyoro tells them to stop playing around because the heroes will find the hideout in less than a day and will be formidable enemies. The monsters were gathered, preparing to fight. There was even a rhinoceros saying he would finish off the humans easily, besides a hen laying an egg, saying it could become the king of monsters. The beauty was training her slaves to kill people. There was even one intimidating the monsters themselves, and another who became a monster just by stroking his hair. The devotees of this cat were eager to beat up Puri Puri, and the drugged cat told them to do whatever they wanted. The monsters thought that, besides Lightspeed Flash, all the others were small fry. There are people with supernatural powers and robots fighting the heroes, but for them, no machine is capable of matching a ninja's speed. The guys were exchanging punches, and you can see the finally improved animation in this episode. After the collision, each went their separate way, and the guy started climbing the water like Naruto, and said he won't even need to activate his powers to kill the humans. The Ripper was taking the snot-nosed kid to the cell, and runs into G5, who had Metal Knight's head, saying it's a little thing he picked up out of self-interest. Meanwhile, the kid was wetting himself there because he knew Metal Knight. The big-headed kid is thrown into the cell, where there was another strange kid who immediately asks if he has any food. The snot-nosed kid manages to find an expired candy from the previous year, and gives it to him, who barely puts it in his mouth and asks if there's more. And since he doesn't have any, the strange kid calls him useless. Not that he isn't, but he didn't need to say it like that. He thinks he's super important, and says the monsters are stupid for capturing him, since his father is important in the Hero Association, and it won't take long for them to be rescued. That's when he starts using the other kid, promising that the heroes will save him if he obeys him. Suddenly, the walking diarrhea appears, saying they will never go home, and that everyone who comes to save them will die. The big-lipped kid tries to instill fear by saying that only Metal Bat would be able to defeat all of them. Little did he know that Metal Bat was already deceased. The slimy creature says that even S-class heroes don't stand a chance, since the strongest monsters are like God's works of art. Right after, like a suspense movie, only Garou's finger is shown moving, and the episode ends. If you got here, like and comment on which anime I should do a recap of, and as a prize, you'll get a waifu like this for you.